that. We're getting there, folks.
Flight sponsors 10-year tip with Garry Dibley.
And we're here. And we're a bit late. Apologies for that. The technical gremlins were in, and unfortunately I was going to be bringing you a very nice set of videos from Mark tonight, but for some reason Wirecast didn't like them. They work perfectly fine everywhere else, and I watch them and watch them and watch them to get all the timings and everything. Put them in Wirecast, it said no. So we've been frantically working behind the scenes, ripping out hair and God knows what, to try and bring something to you today, which we hope will work very well. It could go to pot, I do not know. Anyway, today, obviously, we set off an auction, or Mark very kindly set off an auction with one of his mods for children in need. That auction will be ending, and we might have to extend it a little bit purely because of the timings have totally gone to pot now. So we might end that at roughly about past. So if Mark is in the chat room anywhere, Mark, you're in control, mate. And again, apologies for the videos, Mark. God knows what went wrong. So I've dug through the archives very, very rapidly in probably about 5 minutes and slung something together. There may be something going on that might work. I don't know. Something to show you. Before I go on, I was at this point supposed to be running into videos because it was going to be so tight. No, I don't care. I've got birthday tools, and I'm going to reach down under here just to show you this little set that arrived this morning. Oh my God. Do you know how happy I was to see that arrive? Happy face. Yes. After watching Mark, now this, I blame Mark for these. After watching Mark with this set, I wanted one. And they ain't bleeding cheap, I can tell that much. But I've tried them tonight. Oh my God. I've just halved my work time. Won't tell the wife. Can watch more videos in the shed. I also got a couple of, I'm reaching under the bench, a couple of these little babies. New snips, and they're the Nipex ones. Nice. All the guys at work use these, they swear by them, and I know I keep saying new snips, but very nice new snips. They weren't too bad. They were 20 quid each, which was quite expensive for some snips, but they are damn good quality. They should last, and they lifetime guarantees and all that sort of stuff. And what was the other thing I got? Oh yeah, a little set of CK drivers for prodding and poking and screwing and stuff, as you do. So what I'm going to do, save a bit of time. Excuse me, talking to you like I'm talking to a family member. I'll be scratching my bum next, would you know. I'm going to show you something. I set up a different camera today, and this isn't the reason for the faults, but we set up this one. It's very rare you get to see the Dibley overview or the flight center when we're putting out shows. I've got all my audio running through here, so I'm effectively now running two PCs, one purely for the show and one for Skype and stuff like that. It's only because they were free and they were rebuildable, and it worked very nicely at the time. So that's where we are. Now I can move the little camera around all over the place, so we can give you different angles of the man Dan, which is looking quite good from that angle, I think. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop back into, I'm not going to pop back into it, we haven't even done it yet, so I'm going to pop into our first video, which is pretty much continuing the, if you like, the tool theme that we had going on. And hopefully the bits that I've managed to slot in that might work or might not work in between the videos where the bits marked should have been, might fill in, they might not. At this point, I don't care. Enjoy it. I'll see you in a bit. Well, welcome again. And he's finally made it back for a second week. You probably remember last week I was working on a tin, which by now is probably winging its way across the Atlantic. Because this is this week, even though it's next week, but I'm trying to fool you. I'm trying to get ahead. Because next week is my birthday and I'm going to my parents' house, so I'm going to be poisoned with food that is totally inedible. Oh shit, oh dear, sometimes my parents watch us. Thank you, Mother. Funny story. While we're still on the tools, my sister did once say that when my parents went over to see her in Tenerife, she cooked chops for my sister and she used them to hammer nails in the wall. So I'm not lying, Mother. This is the tin that we made last week, and I finished it. So I just wanted to give you a little overview, and I'm following on with the tool theme. How to use them, what I've got, and what I damn well like. But just to give you a brief, if you remember, or if you didn't see it, we were trying to do a tin for somebody who wanted something a little bit different. It's not majorly scientific in the way this is done. Let me zoom down and give you a little overview. So basically this is a twin atomizer tin with a switch and two batteries. Now this battery compartment would normally be used for the stacking scenario, as in, let's get that right, Gary, minus to plus. Do you know what? I know which way my finger moves, but it doesn't work when you're looking at a screen. So minus to plus to minus to plus, therefore stacking the batteries. However, what I've done in this tin is remove the link that was at this end, and although they're the same makeup, use them as individual batteries. So in using them as individual batteries, what I've done is I've taken a feed from the positive and minus from each end of the tin. I have taken both both of my negatives and run them up to one side of the switch. I've taken two negs off and split those two negs off to the negative ends of the atomizer connections. My two positives I have simply taken to the two posies of each tin. What that will give me is, if I so do desire, to screw on two atomizers, put in two batteries, hit the button and vape both at once on a fully charged whatever battery you want to put in there. But it would have to be an 18650 because that's an 18650 holder. So just to show you how that would work in theory, he says, zooming out, this battery compartment here fires this atomizer here. So I'm going to put that in there, and hopefully we might hear sizzle. I will put the battery in, I will hit the button, and it fires. If I take said battery and put said battery in this way, it doesn't fire. But if I unscrew this atomizer and put that atomizer in now and hit the button, it fires. So effectively what we have in this tin, it sounded rather posh, I don't know where that came from, don't normally talk like that. Basically what it is, if you like, it's a two-in-one. It's a two-in-one tin. So you can mix and match or unscrew one, put one in, and if you want to fire that at E but keep two batteries in or swap it over, so theoretically you could use this as a backup device. You've got two 18650s in there. You could vape on that one until that battery dies and then swap over straight away and have another one ready to go, fresh and fully charged, or stick two in and hit them together. That's about it. really on that. But as I say, waffling. Why have I gone back to tins, I hear you say? Because I know I said my second most favourite tool was the Dremel. I may have slightly lied. See the little mark? One of my favourite tools is that the drill. I have two of these, both made by the same company, Ruby. Why? I'll tell you why. I found this brand to be cheap if you get them at the right place at the right time, and quite reliable, and they do damn last. To be honest, if you were to spend 20 quid on a drill, like a B&Q cheapie, you can probably pick one of these up for, you know, a couple of quid more, and they work, and they just keep working. This particular drill I've had before I even started modding. So this one is got to be 5 years old. Yeah, I bought this when we moved into our house and had a lot of DIY to do and all that sort of stuff. So impressed with that one, I got the other one when I see it on a special in B&Q. However, I might replace them because these are quite hefty. So I'm looking at a Bosch, which doesn't have this big battery compartment. It's probably half the size of a 12 volt battery, but packs the same punch. So that may be a lot easier to use. Why am I talking about drills and why am I talking about tins? Because somebody has asked me the best way to actually put holes in them. And as I finished filming that, I had a PM come through and said somebody had mullered God knows how many tins trying to drill a hole for an atty. They've tried it in a bench drill, they've tried it by hand, they've tried it all which ways, and it's cost them so far a damn fortune in tins just to get an atty in. I'll show you the easiest, I say the easiest, he says that, it's bound to go, won't he? The way that I drill a tin to make a hole for an atomizer. So we're going on to my, I'll say my second, is it my second or my third? I'm not sure. I'll probably use this more than the Dremel, but the Dremel startup noise I just love. I'm going to go away, find a tin that I don't mind mullering, and come back and show you how we drill it. Talk to you in a bit. And we're going back to a little side shot there. You can't see me, it's great. Good hands. Oh look, elbow domage. Show you that. Anyway, moving onwards, and you can see where I'm driving from today. I'll show you a full facial in a minute, but don't want to scare you. I've had a look, and queuing up my next video over here. Quite a lot of the forums I've seen a lot about ATI connections recently, so I thought, seeing as I had to fill things, I'll drag this out of the bits and I'm going to show you this one again. It shows you the makeup of an ATI connection and potentially when things go wrong. I had a guy PM me today on the forum saying he had a silver bullet and something went wrong with it. I sent him a quick PM back and he managed to sort it, even though he wanted to send it to me for repair. He managed to sort it himself. Happy days. Have a look at this, might help you. Okay, so what are we actually looking at? Following on from what we were talking about with batteries and shorts and things like that, my belief is the main reason for a direct short 9 times out of 10 in any mod is down to these little bad boys, the ATI connection. So we've stripped one apart for you just so we can have a look at why I feel these are the biggest issue. Effectively what we've got here, we've got our positive pin, our middle pin of the ATI, and you can see there's a band around here. This is where this little rubber, when it's pushed together, sits over this band. There is a groove in this rubber here, and that groove is where it slots in to this portion here on the ATI. So effectively this rubber is forming an insulation between the main body here and the centre pin. That groove, as I say, sits in that groove. When this is sat home, it pushes through the centre, as you can see coming through here. Now this ATI connection is an unsealed atomizer connection, and the reason I say that these cause a lot of problems, that the quality of these varies greatly, as does the atomizers that we screw onto them. And what you would tend to get in a direct short scenario, if you're screwing something too tightly down on your mod, or there's a centre pin protruding from an ATI that you're screwing on, the more that you screw down, the more pressure you're putting on this rubber here. Now, some of these have been known to split around this middle ring here. Some of them will actually just compress and sometimes pop straight through, or they compress enough to give you a direct short. And a direct short is obviously that you've compressed this rubber enough, or this rubber split, that the inner and the outer are in direct contact. There's no insulation between the two. Now what you would expect to happen in that situation, as we said with any well protected mod, is for the protection to kick in. What we're going to do is have a look at a mod that it's a very good mod. The only thing that's failed on this mod is this little tiny bit of rubber here. Some of the big boys, obviously the silver bullet uses this type of connection. Your GGs and things like that, they have custom built ATIs where this seal here is a lot more solid, and it's an adjustable pin. So even if you do sort of crush the pin, you can wind it back out. So there's much less of a danger of devices like that shorting for this sort of ATI connection fail. But let's just take a look and stick a meter on, and I'll show you basically what happens when one of these fails and you get a direct short. And then after that, we will actually be getting on to making something today. So just bear with me 1 second. So finally, we've reamed and we've swore and we've done lots, and we've managed to we now have sitting in that box a nice switch. Not that the old one wasn't nice. I'm trying to be very diplomatical here. Now that sits nice and flush. You think that adds a real nice touch to that mod. Let me get the lid on. I'm a great fan of these silver bullet switches, as you probably know. So these are brass, but they're gold-plated switches that I have a little source for. So that looks really nice. Now that is in there very, very, very tightly. I wanted to take minimal amount of wood off there, so that at any given time the original switch can still be put back in without any issues. It will still sit in there and it will still sit flush. The lip's still in place. The way that this has gone in at the moment, I haven't put a retaining nut on there. I'm probably not going to put a retaining nut on there. It doesn't need it. That is in there as tight as anything. As I say, it will come out, but it's in there and it's tight and it's not going anywhere, and there's no way that I can push that out. I could if I wanted to with a bit more force, but it's not. What I'm going to do in here is actually just put a bead of seal around there, which again, if this switch needed to be changed, it will come out. It just needs a little bit of, should we say, gentle persuasion. It certainly will. So now I've got the switch in place, I'm going to be working on resealing up this ATI connection. We're having a look in there. The ATI connection's nice and clean as it is at the moment. If I'm ever replacing an ATI connection, the ones that I actually use and have a preference for using, now I'll see if I can get a bit of a zoom down on here. I use the e-cigs because they have a seriously good rubber in them, and they have a nice, the nice sealed centerpiece. And now the easiest way to get these out is literally just from the inside. To start off with, you put a little bit of pressure on that middle pin there, and we want to pop that out. It's difficult doing it on this matting at the moment. So I've popped out there, rubber's come out with it. Now always when you're doing this, inspect the rubber before you replace it. I'm giving that a little squeeze round. There's no splits, there's nothing in there, so I know that rubber is good enough to whack back in this mod. Now what we have to do when we're putting the rubber in, it's probably going to be really hard, really difficult to show you how I do this, and it takes a hell of a lot of practice to get these. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to grip this mod up in there. I don't think I'm going to be able to get the angle to show you this without all fingers and thumbs in the way, but essentially what I do is get a fine nose set of pliers, and what I've done is I've just taken the inside of those pliers off ever so slightly with a Dremel, and on the white mat I've lost the white grommet. What I do then is grip the outside of the rubber like so, and you ease the rubber in, so you're going in at a slight angle, and then with a flat bladed screwdriver you can ease that ring down inside. Now you've got to be ever so careful not to damage this as you're putting it in. And as I say, they're a pain in the bottom, because that one didn't go in properly there. Ease it in at an angle, poke down. As I say, these can take several tries to actually get in, and several rubbers sometimes. You'll know when they start to pop in. That one has there. Now let's pop right through the little bugger. What we just need to do now is go on the inside of this and see if I can pop him back out. There, that's gotcha. So as you can see, now we've got our new rubber in there. Now that rubber, as I say, these Ego ones are great because as you can see, that rubber is actually covering the whole of the bottom of that connection in there, whereas the others tend to sit around the outside. That covers the whole of the rubber. Now last bit to do is we're going to ease in our centre pin. Some people like to solder these up before you put them in. I'm just going to drop it in as it is and solder up in situ. I've got room to work in there, it's not going to be a major issue, so I'll pop it in and do it that way. Again, they can be a little pain in the bottom, but with the same pliers, with little fine noses, I'm just dropping that into the centre there, and then I'm just going to, with my flat bladed screwdriver, get it lined up over the middle pin. Easier said than done. And give it a very, very gentle persuasion home. And we have our new centre pin in there ready to be soldered up. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give this a blob of solder on the middle pin in there, ready to take a cable out to our switch. There we go. And he got carried away and forgot that the video was going to end. Reason is I've been chatting a lot to the guys, and I know we all thank them greatly at the end of the show. The guys who work behind the scenes, again, fantastic. We were having a mini nightmare tonight, or I was, and you know, the help and support and the backing and the chat and you know is great. So hats off to you guys. Thank you very much once again, and I'm sure all the people out there appreciate your input to getting the shows out there. It is fantastic. What we're going to do, I believe, as of now, the auction has been closed. We're going to run into our first ad break, if he can find where the hell he put it on the screen, and we'll come back after this. He thinks it's going wrong.
Liberty Flight sponsors 10-year tip with Garry Dibley. iViber and iViber Elixir, based in Yorkshire, for your e-cig needs. That's iViber.co.uk and iViber-elixir.co.uk. iViber and iViber-elixir.co.uk are proud sponsors of ViberTrails.tv. And now back to Garry Dibley's 10-year tip, sponsored by Liberty Flights.
So back after our first ad break, and I do apologise for the frantic nature of tonight's show. We have, or I've done it before, but Mark has been a great guy. I launched a thing last year which we were doing a children in need charity type thing, and it literally all sort of went around one auction, one big auction. Vendors were great, they put in a lot of stuff, and it was mad. We ended up with 3 pots and we raised, I think, just £1,000 last year. I thought I'd start early this year, so I opened up the if you like I think it's just giving, because last year I absolutely caned my PayPal account having to transfer £1,000 to children in need, and PayPal just said, yeah, that's it, your limit's done, mate, which sort of screwed me for a while, if I can say that. Sorry. This year I started a bit early, and we've opened one up, just giving account, and I've called it Vapors of the World for Children in Need. A lot of people have very generously donated already, and at this moment in time there is £100 sat in there with the tax relief. It's about £120. Anybody can donate at any time. There's nothing in it for me whatsoever. It is purely a charity for children in need. Towards the run up, I did intend to do to do a bit more and try and get some more prizes together, as it were. And if you're a vendor and if you are a mod maker, I would love to speak to you for that auction that we're going to hold near at the end. However, Mark very graciously decided to put up the mod that he made in the show that sort of went out last week before, and he said he was going to put it up, which sort of gave me a kick up the bum as well, because I really needed to do a bit more with this. So we've got Mark's mod that was going into the auction. We have a modded, and there it is, I don't know if I showed you this last time, a Buzz Pro, and the tin I made, which is going to be a little VV chocolate penguin thing with a display in it and that sort of stuff. So those were the prizes that were up. Quick bait. Good moment. Sorry. It works quite well. You may see this. My wife is, for some reason, I've done my elbow in, and my wife is blaming my elbow on more time spent alone in the shed. Don't get it. Anyway, we run this auction, and we are going to announce our winner. And I believe our winner, with a winning bid of £101, is Jeffers. So thank you very much, Jeffers. I'll give you some info on this, but basically none of the money is coming to me or Mark. What we want you to do is just donate that straight into the fund. When they're in there, give us a shout and we'll dispatch them out to you. So thank you very much, much appreciated. And if you guys can show a little support at some time over between now and when they do the big children need thing, it would be greatly appreciated. As I say, it's not for me, it's for the charity. So with all that said and all that done, I've wasted lots more time, which is great. Liking that. Mark obviously is very, very emotional tonight because the video's failed. It's not his fault whatsoever. We've all had absolute nightmares with the videos. And for some reason his PC didn't like my PC this week. And that's it, simple as that. So I've had to chuck together some stuff and probably something exciting a little bit later on, we hope. You found it exciting last time, so you might do this time. I was desperately trying to find out what the hell I was going to do next. Bear with me 1 second. Oh yes, it's this one. We did have some guests in on this little video that we did, and we were talking about drilling. And this auction prize features quite heavily in this this little bit. So does Sav. So enjoy. I'll see you after this. Right, so we're back again for the second part of our video, and just to let you know, I am in currently a chat room, and one of those people in there is Sav, who was for some reason really worried about what we're going to do. I told her we were going to do a little video about drilling and my chocolate penguin. And I don't know why she was worried. Just for Sav and the viewers at home, this is my chocolate penguin. It is a tin. Would you guys like to say hello to the people on the video?
Hello people.
See, you can't see Sav. This is bizarre. We said we were going to talk about doing a little bit of drilling, and somebody had problems drilling a tin and they kept mullering it and wrecking their hull. For some reason, bits and a chocolate penguin come to mind. So I'm going to show you. Obviously, the way that I do this is he's stuttering. He always does this, and then he has to find something to say afterwards. I'm just going to put a small drill bit in first. And I've got one of these drills that uses a hand tighten chuck. Simply by tightening that down with your hand is there. First thing you need to do on your tin is find out where you would like your hole. Now with a chocolate penguin, that is always advisable. Depending on where you want the switch, they're uncontrollable. I don't know what. We're talking about tins, guys.
Sorry.
So, yes, what we want to do is I'm going to put a switch on one side and an ATI on the other. When you're drilling a tin, you've got to be very careful when you're going through. Sav. I don't know if you can hear Sav, but trust me, she is there. What are your experiences with drills, Sav?
Slim to none. I once put a curtain rail up and that's it. I nearly fell out the window.
Yeah. I won't be falling out of a window doing this, hopefully. I'll try. But what we're doing, we're drilling metal. So slow speed is good.
Right.
So I'm going to guesstimate this, and I'm going to go in round about there. And what I'm doing, I'm using my thumb to guide this. I know what people will be saying in chat, they want to see blood. I will try.
Good.
But start off slowly. With a tin, when you're drilling a tin, the bit can slip all over the place. So to start with, you've got to apply a little bit of pressure, building up slowly. You find that if you build up slowly, towards the end you can give it a final burst and you're actually through.
Yeah.
And there we go.
You're through.
I think Sav's...
I apologise.
She's apologising. So as you can see, now got a hole in my penguin. You will get a bit of spillage out the back.
No.
No, sorry, I'll put that another way. When you pop this drill bit through, you can get like little shards come out the back. So just be careful you don't cut yourself on those. What I'm going to do now is, once I've got my initial hole in, I'm going to up the ante, as they say, and try and ream it out a bit bigger. So I'm just going up to a slightly bit bigger drill bit, and I'm just easing that in very slowly. Be careful not to push too hard, because this is where you can get a blowout at the back. And just when you get to the end where you think it's going to give, you need to ease off just ever so slightly. There we go. Feels rather good when it finally goes through. So now what I'm going to do is give it the big boy, the daddy of all drill bits. And for an atomizer connection, you do need a 9mm drill bit. The bits that I'm using are round and long. Other than that, I don't know. They come out of a pack. If you want to find out specifically what drill bits they are, I'm sure I can try and read the small print as it goes round, but don't hold your hopes. Bigger one going in. So always get, before you do this, you need to make sure whatever you're drilling, especially when you're going for the big boy, you make sure you've got a firm grip. What you don't want to do when you're trying to ram something in that hole is slip and put it in your hand. So get a good grip, try and pin it down on the bench as much as you can, and then just ease the big one in. Again, before it pops through, just ease off ever so slightly. And there we go, that's through. Again, making sure you're careful, because you don't want to at this stage to cause yourself injury by touching anything that you've just popped through the other side. And there's your hole. You can actually try an ATI connection in there, and as you can see, fits perfect. The tin is still perfectly formed. We'll come back in a bit and I'll show you how to drill out the switch, because we're going to have to ream the hell out of this one. I'll be back in a bit. Say bye, Sav.
Bye!
So there we go. She was uncontrollable. I don't know what was wrong with her. We were just giving pure simple instructions onto how to drill a tin safely and effectively. Sav. Corrupted me, that woman has. Right, we're going to go into a second ad break now, and once again, thank you very much for the support on the auction. Much appreciated.
Liberty Flights sponsors 10-Year Tip with Garry Dibley.
Sorry, just having a bit more tinage, and I thought I'd give you this one again. I'm liking this. By the way, this is a blackout curtain. Stop the neighbours looking in. I had to put that up after playing some of Mark's videos and them hearing the music pumping out the speakers. Sorry, Mark. Couldn't resist. Anyway, back on with the show. And in this little bit, I get a bit handy with a sharp implement. So for those of you that like blood, watch very closely. Right, so we are back, and I may have lied slightly. I know I said I was going to show you how to put a switch in one of these, but that would just be repeating purely what I've just done there. The only main difference would be, oh, excuse me, don't know where that come from. I would drill it here somewhere. Drill 9mm, because my drill will only take up to a 10mm drill bit, and then remount. Now I know Mark has one of the newfangled stepping drill bits, but I don't. And that is the one tool I would like. Most definitely. I'm going to show you two other tools I use quite frequently in mod making, and one of them is very dangerous. It can bite you like you've never been bitten before, and it's one of these. This is branding. It's not a Stanley knife as such, but it does have Stanley knife blades in them because I bought them branded as Stanley. This one here is a locking device. I prefer this since I had an accident with my finger where I cut through the tendons and all that sort of stuff. Long story, it's on all the forums at some point somewhere if you want to see it. But this one here is a damn good tool. Once you open it, when you open it, it has a safety strip so you can't cut yourself. You need to peel back that safety strip which reveals the blade. This slides back in the body. It has a little poppy up section there where you can store spare blades. To change the blade, it has another locking section here. You can do that and pull that bit down, take the blade out, change it. I'm going to change it to the sharp end, seeing as we're going to show you how to use it, just to add to the danger factor, and lock this back up in place. Damn solid tool. Do not go doing what I'm about to do with a snap off blade type thing. The reason I have this very solid Stanley knife, what do you call it, utility or whatever it is, sharp blade knife, is because I've been bitten, and I've been bitten badly, and it hurt, and it cost me a lot of pain. If you're going to use these, be very, very, very careful. Now I'm going to show you one of the ways that I use this tool, and it's very easy. I've got here a twin 18650 battery compartment. I want to make some modifications to this in order to it to fit in the reamed penguin tin. So the first thing I need to do on this is to take off the sides. I do not want the sides, I do not like the sides, I need to take them off. So let me go down a bit further, because if I do maim myself, I want you to see it fully. What I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to use the side of this here. You can see the blade coming in. I'm going to push that up against the side there, and almost in a sawing action I put the tip and get a bite on the tip. You've got to apply a lot of pressure on this. The other reason I like this is a big thing on the top for applying pressure. So you put your tip in first, and what I tend to do is press down, and you've got to make sure that you've got a very good grip on this. How I got bit before, I was trying to do something and I pressed down, the blade snapped and it went in my hand. Ended up cutting through all sorts. So tip first, make sure you've got a good grip on this on the bench, push, and in a sawing action push forward, and you see that went through. That's gone through that side. I'm going to do the same the other way. When you're working with a knife, you've got to be careful. They do bite. So again, I'm putting my tip in first, applying pressure and pushing it home. It's all about getting your tip. I always talk about tips for some reason. Now what I'm going to do is, on this bit here, I've now freed up the two sides, so the two sides are free. What I'm going to do in the crease down here that you can't see because my light's gone, is I'm going to again apply pressure, put my Stanley knife in at a very slight angle and just run it through once and run it through again, using the plastic to guide the blade. Don't try and force the blade to do anything it doesn't want to do. If you start trying to force a blade, that's when it will bite you. Then you can then push this back and you can see that's now pushed back. What I can do then is continue to cut because I've got a much cleaner area to sort of cut at. So I'm just going to pop it in there again, and again I've sharpened, or not sharpened it, I've changed the blade. A couple of run throughs and you'll start hearing that that's hitting the wood. That can pop off. I'm going to do the same the other side. Tip of the blade in, push down, letting the plastic guide me. Same again the other side. Running my blade down the side, running it again, pulling back, revealing the plastic, and I hit the bench pretty much straight away then. Now that's opened up this battery compartment. What I need to do is just trim this back down with the blade, because there are little offcuts. So if you're trimming down, hold it again tight, trimming down with the blade. This is a very, very, very sharp blade. It's a brand new blade. So I'm just running this down, literally. And rotate the work rather than the blade you're using. So now what this has effectively left me, you can see that these ends or the sides are further out than the actual body that I want. So I'm going to just trim these sides down. Again, I'm keeping the blade. I'm going to put a little nick in this to start with, tip in and push down. Always you've got to be gentle but firm, if that makes sense. And you can always, like I'm doing now, nibble little bits off rather than trying to go. It's always better to nibble bits off rather than going at it full hog. Around the other side. Off again. And that leaves me two sides to do. Again, always let the blade do the work. If it gets stuck and you try and force it, that's when the blade is potentially going to snap and you've got problems. The other thing I need to do on this battery compartment is just trim off the tops ever so slightly. So again, you've got to get a good grip on it, make sure your hands are out the way of the blade, and I'm just going to gradually ease that down, take it off this way. And sometimes when you work at reverse angles, it's very, very, very difficult because you may be used to holding it that way. If you want to hold it that way, turn it over, flip it and do it the same way, but just be damn careful because these things are as sharp as hell. Like that. That was a slip. But because I had control of this and I had control of the knife, it went straight into the bench rather than my hand. My hand was out of the way. Now I know the particular mod I'm making at the moment, it needs a corner taken off this, and I know roughly where that corner is, so I'm just going to push that down on the corner. And one of our tools that we used before is our snips. I'm just going to snip that off at an angle. And do the final cut with the blade. Which leads me on to one of the other tools I use when I'm modding, which is a file. Now we need to have a relatively decent file. The file I've got, yeah, it's a file. If you're working with plastic, get one that you work with plastic. Again, hold the work, move the file. I know roughly what sort of shape I want to achieve with this, and I know roughly what I need to take off. File is also good for knocking back the rough edges. If you haven't cut anything perfectly, you can knock it back with a file. One of the ways that I like to work a file, which is probably totally wrong, is to hold the file steady and use the work. Actually move the work rather than the file, because you can do it a little bit gentler. Now I'm just going to test fit this to where I want that to go in the tin. As you can see, that will slot in there very nicely. Now one of the other things I need to do in this tin is to take off a smidging. Now this is always difficult. I roughly know where I want to go to, and I'm just scoring that. Now what I tend to find, if you've got to take off this, if I was to put pressure on this, that blade would go all over the place. So I'm going to just run it at a slow pace first, just trying to draw a straight line down there. Then your line's your guide. Every time you run that blade through that line, it's going to run the same. And you eventually get to a point where you can hear that on the bench now. That's through. I've just got to run that through, and I can take off the remainder. And what I'm doing there at that point is I've got a little noggin here I've got to take off. Rather than trying to hack it with a blade, I'm going to push the blade as far into the bench as I can and actually move the work away from the blade. And that will come out. So with one of these boys, be careful. Always work, you know, with it. Everybody knows what their limitations are or whatever, but you know, if you've got a problem, take it slowly. So there we go, modifying plastic with one of my other tools. I will talk to you in a bit.
And good evening, country. Taking a while to get things lined up and ready to go. But I'm here now, so welcome to Dad's Tack Box.
So there we go, I'm back in the room and not long to go now. So yeah, I was talking to my son and he's watched me make things before.
At Veterans TV Towers. Tonight being Wednesday night, it is time for the one and only chat show programme called PT Talk. It is the Haze Hour. Again, Keith was just saying if it wasn't for the titles, he wouldn't come and do the show. He loves them so much, don't he? Alright.
Oh, wrong one. There we go. Can't do, I'm a man, you know. You have two things going on at once and you've got two cameras to choose from. Dan Atman. There we go. So we are gradually drawing to a close, and I hope that the little show that we managed to bodge together worked very well. I'm going to show you this, and there's very good reason. Yes, unfortunately, Stunty is getting on in years, and I'm going to retire him very shortly, and I'm going to get him probably put into a little case of some sort, coffin, I think they call them. No, I will get him in something. So what I'm going to do with Stunty, I'm hoping, and I've already started the breeding program, that these two are going to sort of breed a super Stunty type thing. You know, might happen, might not, but Stunty needs a new home, and you know what we are going to do is put Stunty up for auction, and I'm not saying when. It may be closer the Children in Need sort of main event type things, but Stunty might be framed with something. I'll try and get a photo of all the team and you know all that sort of stuff and put it in there and put it out there and see. Even if he makes £5, he's going in the bin otherwise. If them two, if the breeding program works, he's definitely going in the bin. I don't know where he is. He might bite me. So yes, there we go. He will be coming up very, very shortly for auction. So at some point we may have to pay homage for that was once Stunty, and then we'll launch Super Stunty. So I think, guys, it's been an incredibly difficult time. We've had it was a last minute frantic rush to get everything sort of thrown together. And again, you know, these technical glitches, they happen, nobody's to blame, and this, that and the other. But luckily, I managed to have a hard drive plugged in at the time that had lots of stuff that I could use, which was good. So, sort of minor catastrophe, you know, averted. Hopefully, next week we will be trialing to get a bit of HD out on this show. So we may have the 480 and the 720 up and running test dependent. So we'll see how we go with that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been emotional. Thank you very much for washing, or even watching. Whatever you were doing, I don't mind. I'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Have a good week.
Liberty Flight sponsors 10-Year Tip with Garry Dibley.